It was a cold January evening in 2019 when the emergency dispatch line in Brook Ridge, Ohio, received a frantic call. A man's voice, trembling, said, "Something terrible has happened in House 42. I think they're all gone." The line went dead before the dispatcher could get more details. House 42 sat quietly at the edge of the woods, separated from the nearest home by nearly 500 feet of frozen field. By the time police arrived, the front door was wide open. What they found inside would haunt the small town for years. But the story doesn't begin with that. Call it begins months earlier, when the Clark family first moved in. Brook Ridge was the kind of town you'd miss if you blinked while driving past. Population just under 2,000, mostly retirees, farmers, and a few young families who hadn't yet fled to bigger cities. The winters were harsh. Snow would pile knee-deep, and the trees around the town would groan under the weight of the wind. It was the kind of place where news traveled faster than light, and everyone knew what brand of cereal their neighbor ate. But even in a town so small, House 42 had a reputation. It sat on the edge of Hemlock Lane, a gravel road that ended in forest. No one had lived there for years before the Clark family arrived, and no one stayed long when they did. Rumors swirled. Some said it was cursed. Others whispered about the man who built it. He disappeared without a trace, leaving his dinner on the table and lights on in every room. The Clarks moved into House 42 in late August 2018. Michael Clark was a mechanical engineer who had recently accepted a remote job. His wife, Hannah, worked part-time at the town library. They had 2 children, Sam, age 10, and Lily, 7. Neighbors described them as quiet but polite. The kids rode their bikes up and down Hemlock Lane and waved at passing cars. Hannah joined a local book club. Michael fixed his own mailbox the day after they moved in. They seemed, by all appearance, normal, but the house had other plans. It started with little things. Lily told her mother she heard whispering at night. Michael blamed it on the old air vents. But then the lights in the hallway started flickering. Their cat refused to go upstairs. Sam complained of hearing footsteps in the attic. Hannah began noticing books she hadn't checked out appearing on her nightstand. Old, water-stained hardcovers with no library tags. One morning, she woke to find every faucet in the house running. Michael set up motion cameras just to be safe. What he captured was strange. Footage showed a figure standing still in the living room for over an hour, completely motionless. But no one in the family remembered seeing anyone there, and still, they stayed. The 14th of January, 2019, was the coldest night of the year. At 11:03 p.m., a neighbor reported seeing flickering lights at House 42. At 11:19, a second neighbor heard what sounded like a woman screaming. But when they checked, the house looked dark and still. The next morning, Hannah didn't show up to the library. The kids didn't arrive at school. Michael's work laptop remained offline all day. Police arrived around 3:45 p.m. The front door was unlocked. Inside, there were signs of a struggle. An overturned lamp, broken glass in the kitchen. In Lily's room, her favorite stuffed animal was torn in half. But what chilled investigators most wasn't what was there, it was what was missing. There were no footprints in the snow leading out of the house. None. Forensic teams swept the house. No signs of forced entry. No fingerprints other than the family's. No blood. No signs of robbery. But strange details piled up. Every mirror in the house had been turned to face the wall. The family's phones were found in a kitchen, drawer powered off. In the basement, the word "stay" was carved into the concrete wall. No one had ever seen it before. Security footage from the nearby library showed nothing unusual. But Michael's motion cameras recorded something deeply unsettling. At 2:12 a.m., the footage showed all 4 family members standing in the living room, facing the wall. Not moving, not speaking, just standing. And then, at 2:18 a.m., they all turned, at once, and looked directly into the camera. That was the final recording. After the disappearance, Brook Ridge became the center of national attention. Reporters, ghost hunters, and internet sleuths descended on the quiet town. Theories spread like wildfire. Some believed the Clark family had been victims of a cult. Others said they were abducted by something not of this world. Locals spoke of Hemlock Lane being cursed long before House 42 was ever built. An old man claimed the house was built over a burial site. A former librarian revealed records of 3 previous families who had lived in House 42, all of whom had moved away suddenly, reporting strange voices and shadowy figures. Online forums obsessed over the last video. Some said if you freeze frame at exactly 2 hours, 17 minutes, and 46 seconds, you can see a 5th figure in the corner tall, pale, watching. No one could explain it. 3 months later, on the 12th of April, a local hiker found something deep in the woods behind Hemlock Lane. It was a cell phone mud-caked, but intact. Police confirmed it belonged to Michael Clark. When digital forensics recovered the last video on the phone, it showed Michael breathing heavily, whispering into the camera, "If you find this, don't go into the basement. It's not the house, it's what's under it." The screen went black. Then, one final frame appeared, a shot of the Clark family. All of them, standing in a dark hallway, smiling. That video was never released to the public. No trace of the Clarks has ever been found. House 42 remains sealed, its windows boarded, its doors locked by court order. But sometimes, when the wind howls down Hemlock Lane, neighbors say you can hear a child laughing or a piano playing faintly in the distance. And on winter nights, the lights in House 42 flicker, just for a second, like someone is home. If this story sent chills down your spine, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and comment below what you think really happened to the Clarks. And if you've ever seen something you couldn't explain, share your story with me. Until next time, stay curious and stay out of basements.